Okay, good morning, and what we're going to be looking at today is using ARDEX A for other jobs that you can do around the house with it. And today we're looking at a windowsill. Typical windowsill you sort of get when you're doing renovations at home. Well, obviously when the house was built originally, they must have had some issues with height from where the blockwork had finished to the windowsill. So in this scenario, what some kind gentleman has tried to do is build it up with 3 pieces of plasterboard, which is all degrading now, and so on. So again, not a good idea in that respect. And then they've then blob fixed the tiles onto the windowsill. So there's another issue there, not solid bedded, so if any moisture, as and when the moisture soaks through the grout, it can get into that plasterboard over time and cause issues again in that front. So we're going to look today at removing the defected area and replacing it with A46. So again, windowsill is not even bedded. That was actually loose. Okay, so we're going to move on now, just a few last little bits of prep. I'm just going to scrape off some old silicons. Obviously at some point this windowsill's been all sorts of different heights by the look of it, so I'm just going to remove that with my razor scraper and give it one last vacuum up, just to make sure it's nice and clean, ready to receive the 46. Just something else with this, I'm going to refer to the customer just to see what height she wants the sill building back to, and then we can reinstate it to the height she requires. Just careful to take that off without damaging the window, because she's got no intention of changing the windows just yet. Okay, so just to finish off, get a vacuum out and just remove any last bits of dust and residue, so we get a good bond when we come to put the 46 on. Okay, so take it a step further now. Obviously you've seen the preparation side of it. I've removed the old plasterboard and dot and dab adhesives and all that. I've now spoke with the client, and the new kitchen unit is going to be coming up by 20 mil, and they're having the metro tiles which are 100 mil. So we've set the board to allow for that, and the board is nice and level. The reason I'm going to use a board in today's scenario, obviously it's quite a big window. If it was a small step, and I'm sure you've all seen us do the demonstrations before, we could use 2 trowels and get that, but because it's quite a big spans, it's easier just to cut a piece of board and set the levels, and I'm just going to infill and just trowel it across the top. Okay, we're going to go to the mixing stage next. In regards to the mixing stage, because we need to build it up by 40 mil, with the ARDEX A46, you say 40 mil, it's got to come off. With the ARDEX A46, when you go to 40 mil, it's a good idea to include the ARDEX coarse aggregate, which I'm going to show you when we get to the mixing stage. But before we go to the mixing stage, what I'm going to do, very dry sort of dust, not dusty because I vacuumed it off, but a very dry absorbent background. So I'm just going to use a little bit of water just to damp it down, just to help stop a bit of suction when I'm applying the mixed A46. Okay, as I explained inside earlier, because we're going to go to 40mm, we're going to add the ARDEX coarse aggregate into the mix. Obviously it's like a 3mm type of chipping which you can buy through ARDEX. Okay, and I'm going to mix a full bag today. Always better to mix full bags if possible to get the actual perfect equal volume, and I'm using 3 litres of water, which obviously tells you on the back of the bag. So I've applied the water already, so the water goes in first in there, and now I am going to put the powder in. But before I do that, obviously you'll notice the ARDEX dust free. By having that on there, I obviously don't need to wear a mask. So we'll just get that working. Looks quite thick, and the temptation is now to add a little bit more water because it doesn't look very creamy and fluidy. So just keep mixing it up, put a little bit more energy into it, and it'll make it starting to go nice creamy consistency. And the temptation of overwatering it, obviously adding more water, you'll overwater it, and obviously it's not going to perform as it should. So there's a nice creamy consistency. Okay, and now at this stage we're going to add the aggregate, which is the 3mm chipping, and it's equal volume. Okay, get that, yeah. Okay, there we go. So, next stage now, just work that in. As you can see, very pliable type of product. Just filling in that last bit there, where the expanding foams come out. And also, if you notice, I'm just giving it a bit of a scratch onto the bed that I damped down earlier, just to make sure I'm getting good contact. And now I'm just going to start building it up as we go. I'm going to try and gauge it if I can, somewhere near, so I'm not dragging too much off, but also I haven't got too much overspill. Just keep pushing that in. So again, even with the aggregate in, as you can see, it's very workable. Just giving it a tap, just making sure it's all going in to the voids where I want it. Not filling it too high, as you say, because I'm hoping to just drag the trowel across it in a minute. So we'll just start, grab the trowel, initially just work it in. And with products like this, you know, it's a bit of, you know, just work it down, don't have to rush, even though it's a rapid setting product. That will cure in 30 minutes. Okay, just take your time and just work it in. Try not to spill it everywhere. So there we go. Just drag that off. And what I'm trying to do, if you notice, there's just a little bit of a lip, which I'm very lucky with, on the back of this window, which enables me to just sit the trowel on, which is a perfect height for what I want, and just run it down. Now for tiling, obviously the finish that we get in there, even with the aggregate in, would be good enough. For tiling on, obviously if we were going to put something else on there, we'd want it a bit smoother. So, let's see. Just working that in. taking that off. Just get rid of them chippings off there. You can hear it is catching the chippings. One final go. Should give it some in here. There we go. Final edge. Nice. Okay. And then I continue to work down. Okay, so we're just going to complete the last section. So again, just mixing it in, filling in the gap there at the back. Now A46 is a moisture tolerant product, can be used internally and externally. So again, good environment for the windowsill, any spillages and whatnot, it'll cope with that. And then just going to carefully build it up, obviously feeding it into the background. Just working it in will make a little bit of difference to what you're doing. Again, I don't want to overfill it because obviously I'm getting to the end now and I'm going to have to take away any excess. So just keep working that in. Not too much more, I don't think. I'm just going to rely on that there for now. Just move my bucket out of the way. Get my gauging trowel. Just going to clean the trowel up, making sure it's nice and clean. Get off any snot or anything like that. And again, like we did before, just gently work it in. Again, trying to follow that ridge on the back of the window. Same there, just work it in. Again, go back the other way this time. A little bit more required there, I don't know whether you can see that. Again, I can just apply a bit more while it's still wet. Work it in. And I'm hoping when we get to this corner, it should just be enough for what we're after. Okay, good thing about having the Slump board. Can almost use a spot. Okay, so again, make sure my trowel's on that lift at the back now. Just working it in. Okay, we're almost there. Just keep pulling off the excess off the trowel. Okay. Just trying to tie that in now. Okay, so already at this stage, this has been in 15-20 minutes, it's starting to harden up, okay. And I've got the luxury now, if I wanted to, get a damp sponge, not a wet sponge, just a damp sponge, just float it over, just finish it off if I want to, entirely up to you, but realistically that finish that we've got there is more than suitable for tiling. Again, at this stage I'm just going to wipe the window down because the customer certainly doesn't want cement all up a plastic window, but again you can see how easy that's coming off at this stage. Okay, so it's not too, you know, if you're having to go yourself or whatever, it's not too much of an issue. Any leftover bits, just going to wipe them off like so. Again, if I want to close that surface up, just a bit of working with a sponge and eventually it'll go nice and tight. And there we go. A46 made up our windowsill. I'll just finish that off there. Now what I'm going to do, I'm not going to rush, and that's one of the things sometimes we rush at taking off the bit of board on the front, and it might break away. So I'm going to leave that probably for an hour now and then come back and remove that board and hopefully a nice clean windowsill. What it might want at this stage, obviously when we remove the board, depending how it's done on the front, okay, it just might want a little bit of troweling up on the front just to really finish it off, and so on. A46 for a window repair.